YouTube, welcome by Say What?
Before the interview with Chris Pirillo starts in a few seconds, I have to get 3 things off my mind. First of all, as you can hear, English is not my native language. My native tongue is German, so please excuse my language. Secondly, to all my German viewers now, leider konnte ich dieses Video nicht mit deutschen Untertiteln versetzen, da das einfach ewig dauerte. Und bis ich das fertig gehabt hätte, wären Monate vergangen wahrscheinlich. Entsprechend machte es dann keinen Sinn, das jetzt zu machen, und jetzt ist das Video leider nur komplett in Englisch. Having said that, I want to thank Chris Pirillo for actually taking part in this interview. And, well, let's begin now.
Hey Chris.
Hi!
This is Chris Pirillo. You probably know him from YouTube. He's one of the big American YouTubers over there. And
Am I? Really?
yeah, I guess.
Okay, cool.
We're together with John for Lakers.
Oh yeah,
and
Soldier Knows
Soldier
Best, and Chilla Frilla, and the whole geeky crew.
Right. So we're at the CeBIT right now. And
It's really nice. CeBIT is bigger than I thought it was.
Is it?
Yeah, much bigger than I thought it was. It honestly, I don't know what they do in numbers, but it seems that it's bigger than CES.
Really?
Yeah.
But CeBIT is declining in size right now.
Well, that's the, yeah.
Every year.
As it used to be, like I guess
Yeah.
CeBIT pulled like what, how many millions of people back in 2000? Like insane. Yeah, I guess, but most trade shows are getting smaller and smaller. I don't think they should be, because trade shows are really the only chances that you have to get out there and see products and meet people really in person. You can't get that on a web page. You can't get that through a video. I like getting out there.
Okay, I actually heard today that many people were already leaving early in the CeBIT because they didn't like it. Well, anyways.
Really?
Yeah, just
What's not
as
to
a side
like?
note.
They had something where you can control a typewriter with your eyes, and another one where you can control it with your brain. How could you not want to see that?
Probably didn't see that.
There's a lot to see.
So that's actually my next question.
Okay.
What did you find here that you were saying is like most geekiest thing?
Well, those two assistive services, you know, technology is getting to the point, I've said this for years, where it's becoming more pervasive rather than invasive. And we're seeing leaps and bounds in technology and usability, where I did a video where they strapped this thing to my head and I controlled the keyboard basically by looking at characters. And you know, these are maybe not interesting to people who can type or communicate, but for people who don't have that ability, these technology services are enabling communication at a level that, you know, we could have only dreamed about, you know, decades ago. And technology is transforming the human experience, not just what we would consider a normal experience. I can walk, I can talk, I can see. And there's some people who can't walk, who can't talk, who can't see. And technology, these things that drive it, is getting to the point where we're all on a level playing ground, where I can effectively communicate with someone, at least in a written capacity, even though that person can't type as fast as I can. We can still have a communication, you know, that goes back and forth in a synchronous fashion, because technology is accelerating to the point where it's less about what inhibits us from communicating and more about what opens us up to being able to communicate.
Okay. So would you really consider this like geeky or more huge advancement in technology? Because for me personally, geeky is something more useless, maybe like a USB ventilator or something like that.
Well, but those things the geeky things give way to the things that matter, right? I mean, the best advances in technology, I think, have come out of hacks. You know, we couldn't have imagined that the Kinect from Microsoft could have done what it does if hackers weren't tinkering and making it do things that it wasn't designed to do out of the box. I mean, you know, with games and whatnot, but we see the promise, you know, the geeks see the promise in something and make it do something, which leads to something else. Inspiration leads to inspiration leads to inspiration. So, you know, I think there's a balance between the two, the geekiness of things and, you know, the utilitarianism of, you know, technology. And maybe the geeks are seeing things, well, yeah, it's another netbook, it's another notebook, it's another PC cooler. It's not that interesting. At a baseline, it's not interesting. What it's interesting for more would be the buyers. the people who are buying and selling products and vendors and resellers. That's something like CeBIT is definitely concentrated on that more so than maybe the average geek who wants to see the latest netbook or the latest notebook and so on and so forth. But there's still something interesting to be said between the lines. When you look at the technology that's powering things, then you can really get an idea about where the world is headed. That USB whatever may not seem interesting, but think about how many lives that's going to influence. Or think about, at least we're not alone. We staged people walking through so that you knew it wasn't just the two of us standing there. And it worked. It worked really well. Do we have to pay them in euro?
Yeah, I guess we should do that.
They did a pretty good job, I'd say. So anyway, I think, sometimes you have to look beyond yourself. You may be interested in certain types of technology, but looking at what's there, you get a better idea about where the industry is. It gives you perspective. You gotta think beyond yourself. You gotta think, the egocentric view, which so much of YouTube, unfortunately, is all about. They think it's all about them. It isn't. It's about the world and communicating and connecting with one another. You gotta get out of the house to gain perspective.
So another question is, what is the most less useful thing here, which is total nonsense?
I see a lot of iPod cases. I mean, that's just not interesting to me. I could walk into a store and see that stuff, but again, vendors are buying. I mean, they've got to see what's out there, so it's more for them. So the least, useful thing. I don't know. I guess I haven't really picked up on because I know something is going to be useful for somebody else. I haven't seen something would be a throwaway. I don't know. That's difficult to nail down. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I hadn't seen anything that I thought was just a throwaway. I don't know. Then like I said, what I think is, one man's trash is another man's treasure is what they say. And so I think the same with technology. I mean, there's a reason it usually exists. Usually.
So, I know you do have an iPad.
Yes.
So you probably, I guess you saw the keynote?
I stayed up late here tonight over in Germany. Oh, I was dead tired. I was like one eye open trying to get through that thing. So the question.
So besides Steve Jobs was on stage, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hardly anybody expected it.
Yeah.
So what was the most impressive thing, how do you judge the new iPad?
Well, it's not revolutionary. It's evolutionary. I'm an iPad fan. I think Apple's done a lot to raise the bar for tablet computing. I think Android is getting there. It's not quite there yet. I think Android devices are going to have a very tough time in the marketplace if they don't price themselves at the same level as the iPad. It's not about the hardware. It's not about the specs. It's not about the apps. Period. It's about the experience. And unfortunately, today, Apple's the only company that can deliver that full experience. You can have an Android operating system that works well enough, but you've got a completely different vendor dealing with the hardware, and then a completely different layer with the services. It muddies the waters. I think HP with WebOS is going to give Apple a run for the money. If they price the tablet in a very competitive range to the iPad, I think WebOS is going to be a bigger deal this year than Android.
Okay, so do you really think the experience doesn't have anything to do with the apps? Because I think the apps, that there are so many apps which just gives possibilities to the iPad.
Sure.
So this is probably a major reason for me to choose an iPad with
More
iOS.
apps. Right. Well, because it's not just the number of apps though. I mean, there could be a million really shitty apps. They're shitty apps. Period. Whatever the platform is. Oh, that's another €10. So right down the drain. But you did a good job. The idea though in iOS is that you've got a platform that can give birth to a pleasant experience within an application. It's not just the app. It's that experience. You know that Apple's not going to put something in the App Store that's going to root your device. You're turning into a zombie, and of course you're going to see the problems arise or crop up again and again and again with the Android devices. It's
So does it go by price? Like Theo gets €30 now?
What's that? Yeah, that's 30. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, we broke
15, 20, 25.
Oh gosh.
Boy, how many extras did you get?
I don't know. know.
All these
I think
people
it's the same
around
one.
here.
Just
It's the same one. They just put a wig on. And okay, yeah. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, iPad.
So I guess you were getting one just to review it.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm paying with my own money, as I do for a lot of devices. Many people don't recognize that. So one of the reasons why my bar is so high is like, why don't you like this? I'm like, I'm not going to spend $500 on something that I know is not good. Period. End of story. You know, I'm not going to. I'm very careful. And I've done it at times, but I'm very careful. I don't like doing reviews right after getting a device. You've got to use something prolifically for weeks, if not months, to see its shortcomings before you can say, oh, this is the best device, it's the best thing. Whatever, dude. Like, it's not the case. Just because it's different and new doesn't make it the best, doesn't make it awesome. Just because it's not Apple doesn't make it awesome. It's got to be a device that stands well enough on its own to work. And this is what a lot of people get pissed off at me. I mean, I'm not the one who made the device. I'm not the one who made the service. Don't get mad at me. I'm just giving you my perspective. I'm giving you my opinion. You may not agree. That's fine. Yeah, I am going to be selling my iPads because I bought two of them, the Wi-Fi one and the 3G one, because the 3G one wasn't available the first day last time. So I'm selling those. I'm getting a pretty good price, I think, on them, enough to be able to cover the cost of the new iPad. So I'm getting rid of the old ones, buying a new one, and it'll probably...
For a normal user, would you recommend to get the new one if you already have the old, sell the old?
Oh yeah, I'd absolutely. I think the integration of the camera, I mean, it's faster, yeah, but most people, they don't, it's not a big deal. Speed, yeah, it's good, but it's not a selling point. I think the camera is what's putting more people over the edge, and that's specifically because of FaceTime and how easy it is to use. I think within 1 year today, we'll see Apple ship a FaceTime client for Windows.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I wondered if FaceTime will really get into the market, or if just like apps like Skype will dominate on the iPad and iPhone.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, kind of. I mean, Skype is, I don't care. Skype sucks. I mean, it works, but it sucks at the same time. I don't.
You mean the app or the program on the Mac?
Overall, like they just done on the Mac, they've done an absolutely shitty job with it. Absolutely, it's one of the worst clients I've ever seen on the Mac. It was okay in the beginning, and then it just got the version 5 is just almost borderline unusable. So I mean, Skype's certainly there as a service. It works. I do use Skype. But that doesn't mean it's awesome, because there are many services out there. There's another 10. There's many services out there that can enable that, you know, the FaceTime type of experience. But Apple's made it very, very simple. They've made it clean. They've made it easy. And that kind of accessibility makes it a win for the average consumer. You know, yeah, you can sell a phone and say, oh, you can do video chat on here. You know, how difficult is that? How many apps do you have to download? Where do you go? Who do you go through? Are you getting the right app? Is it the wrong app? Apple eliminates all of that by simplicity. Geeks don't want to hear that. Geeks want it to be complex because that makes them feel more empowered. But I'm telling you, the world doesn't work that way. If you were to ask my parents, well, which would you rather do? Jump through these 15 hoops or just jump through this one hoop? Oh, I'd rather jump through the one hoop. That's the winner. The simplest systems always win.
So another question concerning the iPad. You said speed doesn't matter, or not that much.
Yeah, I mean, in the grand scheme of things.
With the iPhone, there was a problem that it got slower when the new iOS came out from the 3GS. You had a decrease in speed. You just felt it when iOS 4 came out. So do you expect something similar with iOS 5 when it comes out for the iPad?
It's a possibility. I doubt they're going to do that. Or I doubt if it were to happen, and it could, I doubt they would let it go for long. Because Apple did recognize that they were getting a lot of pushback, and they did make adjustments to increase the speed. Because again, the bottom line is they want to have a good product, a good experience. So they did get on it, to Apple's credit. Not to say that, you know, gosh, I wish it wouldn't have happened. Of course, who would want to say, oh, a slower system, awesome. But Apple they were on top of it. So they're not going to cut off their nose to spite their face. Just because it's an older product doesn't mean they're going to shut it down. But Apple takes a different stance, even as they iterate operating systems. You know, Lion now coming on the forefront. You know, they're eliminating support for Pocket PC. PowerPC binaries on the desktop. You can't even use Rosetta anymore with Lion. Even though Lion doesn't ship with Java, you can at least download Java runtime and run Java apps. But they're eliminating a lot of those legacy systems incrementally. You know, instead of shocking people like all at once, you know, this is just doing it one by one by one by 10. This is an expensive video. I don't know if you knew how many extras this guy hired.
Yeah, watch it.
Yeah, yeah. Don't you walk through. So yeah, it's something where, you know, it's a constant flow of new. It's hard to keep up with.
So besides all the specs, iOS and stuff, Apple announced a white iPad.
Yeah.
And they said they will ship it from the first day on. So
I think they knew. They've
probably
they've got it.
Would you actually consider getting a white iPad? Because it looked weird. Maybe because you are used to the black
you know,
frame, but
you know, I personally like black and silver devices in general. I mean, I've got like the only real white device that I carry with me. I mean, it's a battery or your recharger or whatever, USB. You know, make sure I'm not going to die. I would have bought, if it was in black, I would have gotten it in black. I personally prefer black or silver.
But just because, do you think anybody will get it?
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. I'll get the black. Some people just don't care. Some people want the white. Some people want, you know, the black and silver. Whatever you want.
When I first looked at it, it looked so strange, so weird.
Well, some people like it. Some people like it. That's fine. I'm not one of them. So
okay.
Okay.
I think I'm out of questions.
Okay.
Any comment for the German tech viewers or
The
YouTube community?
Any German tech viewers?
Geeky community.
Well, I may have seen videos if they were in German, if there are subtitles in English, because I do not sprechen Sie German. Great. What is it? It's not sort of, what would it be?
Ich spreche kein Deutsch.
Yeah, what he said. Yeah, that's the first thing when I see. Sprechen Sie English? Yeah. Okay. Great. And then I can go from there. No, you know, honestly, I don't think it matters where you're from. You know, if your voice is strong enough and you know, you've got a unique approach, you know, that's going to resonate. You know, if you're passionate about the things you believe in, you know, I think that's okay. I think YouTube is a different challenge just because the amount of trolls on there, and I don't consider any of them part of my community. I mean, they're there, and I got to put up with them. You know, ultimately, and I don't even care if you agree with me or disagree with me. It's a decorum of politeness. There's a lot of rude people out there. You know, I'm sure it's the same way in Germany as it is in America.
Totally, yeah.
Rudeness is universal.
We just talked about it.
Yeah, exactly. Trolls are trolls. Don't feed the trolls, I know. But you know, of course, I'm not able to consume, you know, information if it's not in English because I only know English. And so if you were probably looking for a more global audience, even in Germany, you would probably want to go and produce it. If you're going to produce it in German, that's fine. But I would also recommend producing in English, if only, you know, to kind of get, you know, the word out there beyond, unless what you want is to capture this market, to capture it beyond and gain notoriety beyond. English is probably going to be the language that's going to propel you forward. And I'm not saying that because that's what I speak. That's how I'm. It's just a universal language. Like, you know, if I spoke French and you spoke German, but we both spoke English, you know, we would use English to communicate.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Then thank you a lot.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it.
Thank you. Yeah. Tschüss.